I'm delighted to welcome today to Friday Health Club, Paula Royal, who is our speaker. So over to you, Paula. I can never get your name right. I don't know.
Well, you live in Portugal. It's not that
Yeah.
far from Italy. It's actually an Italian name, and it's called in Italy you would say Paola, Paola. So it's Paola, or in English you say Paola with a U, and it's really similar to that.
And in Portugal, it's different again, and that's why I keep slipping up because
I don't really care. I know what you mean. It's
yeah.
a name. It's a name I'm using, and to identify whatever this is. Right. It's really lovely to be here, and thank you really for inviting me here in this really lovely community. I just tell you just a tiny bit about myself. How long have I got, Elaine? You didn't answer me that question yesterday.
We finish at 12:30, so we normally have a discussion based upon whatever the speaker tells us about. So we've got
wonderful.
3 of an hour, including all of that.
Okay, so if you want me to stop, just give me 5 minutes and just say stop in 5 minutes or something. I sometimes waffle on, and sometimes I'm quick, very soon. Right. So all the wonderful things you guys did. I started my working life as a physiotherapist, and did all kinds of courses in physio. And over the years, I felt like probably all of you, to support people in the best way, I need to not only see a joint or a muscle, I need to work to really see the whole person. And so I trained in acupoint massage, which is lying onto acupuncture, also training. It goes into the Chinese medicine. I did auricular therapy, color therapy, tongue diagnostic, pulse diagnostic, all kinds. And then I opened my own practice then in Switzerland, and had there a holistic practice. Also looked into Chinese herbs and herbs they used in the mountains where I lived. And then I went to the UK and studied in the scientific approach of nutrition for 3 years, because I wanted to have a more a better support internal, not only external, but also more internal. So I did herbs, but I wasn't really knowledge about nutrition. So I did the scientific approach of nutrition. And in the same time, I trained because one part was missing, and that's the mind. And because mind, like you probably all know, is overlying absolutely everything. And so I trained as a EFT teacher, practitioner, whatever you want to call it. And just when I finished my teacher training, I came to the 3 principle paradigm understanding. I don't know if any one of you heard about it. If so, lift your hand, maybe just that I know that there is someone in the room who know. So Elaine, you heard about it, I know. So the 3 principle explain to us how our moment-to-moment experience is created. Simply that. It explains to us to look inside, and not inside of our body, so inside of the oneness of life we are part of. So Elaine invited me here actually today because I think you saw my post, or you maybe even listened to the podcast I did about suicide. So I work now as a 3P, we call it 3P coach, life coach, whatever you want it. The last 8 years, I run webinars, I run retreats, I work one-to-one. And I also combine that with the physical side of what I'm trained in. I support people with losing weight who tried already all kinds of weight loss clubs, all kinds of courses, and they never get there where they actually wanted to, because the mind is not involved, and that is the biggest part. And so that's also one side. I support people in business, stress, overwhelm, and I'm concentrating in the moment, suicide. And that was the podcast Elaine was seeing and got her attention. And that's why you asked me to come here. And the suicide was called, Do You See Suicide as Your Only Way Out? And some people do. In the moment when you are in that frame of mind, it seems for you for the best idea, the best solution. It's like you have an exit plan. When it doesn't get any better, I got an exit plan. And that is a really good idea. And that's the best idea which comes to you. So I'm going to talk about that. And then I also take it into the physical, because you could say like, yes, but there are physical things like hormones. What about then when they're changing and people get suicidal? So I will talk about that too. So first of all, I'm going to tell you a story actually of my husband. So my husband also, when he was in his 30s, he decided that suicide is the best idea. And he was sitting in the afternoon, he was sitting in a sun chair at his parents' place, and his parents didn't have a clue. They wouldn't have known, because he was, oops, something changed, somebody gone. That was Julian, wasn't it? And he thought, that's the best idea. That's what he's going to do. That's his plan. And his parents wouldn't have had any idea. He was just lying there in his sun chair, very relaxed, sunning himself. And then he went home. And he didn't know exactly. He had his place where he's going to do it. He wanted to jump off a cliff in Devon. And he was absolutely ready to do it. He went out of the door. He locked his door, very rational. He went around the corner, and there was suddenly a friend. And the friend somehow clicked. And that changed his frame of mind, his thought process, whatever you want to call it. And she took him for a coffee, and he went. I had the girlfriend of my son this year who committed suicide, and it didn't plan out that way. Nothing could change her train of thoughts, and she committed suicide. So where I want to come to is that it's thought which we all experience. So we live in a thought created reality, moment to moment to moment, 100% of the time. You're all body workers. You cannot experience your body. So that, I'm not saying there is not a body. There is a body. There are cells, there are hormones, there's all kinds of stuff. But your brain is the same organ as your gut. The cells just express themselves. The neutral cells that go into your brain, they express themselves as brain cells. That go into your gut, they express themselves as gut cells. I'm talking about thought, which we have no control over. You have no control over what thought is coming in 1 minute to the next. And we don't need to control it. There is absolutely no need to it. We cannot. We don't need to positive think all the time. We cannot. It's hard work. It's really hard work. And that would be a completely new talk to do. But to see that we live 100% of the time, and everything you experience is thought created. I'm just giving you one example. Or let's do two. Just a little exercise. So when I ask you now to concentrate on your little toe, on the left little toe, Just put your concentration to that. You know, how is it on the floor, maybe on a chair, you know, just what's with the left little toe? Just try to get into it. And I bet you $1 million that just before, when you were listening to me talking, you were not even aware of your left little toe. That doesn't mean it wasn't there, but you were not aware of it. So when I ask you, for example, to imagine a lemon, just imagine, you can close your eyes, you can leave it open, and just imagine this beautiful lemons. I mean, Elaine is living in the Algarve. They're probably beautiful lemon trees, you know, this beautiful lemon, really juicy lemon. And you just take a knife and you cut that lemon in half. And then you quarter it. And the juice is running out. This beautiful lemon with a thick skin and really juicy. And then you take one of this quarter, you take it into your mouth and suck on it. Can you feel the sensation in your mouth? Like a bitter taste, or maybe your eyes. My eyes is always twitching when I think about a bitter lemon. You have more saliva building up. There's no lemon. Where's the lemon? But you're thinking about that lemon, and it's giving you even a physical sensation. That's how strong the power of thought is. Now, everything what you experience, you can experience through the power of thought. The power of thought is neutral. Completely, utterly neutral. But whatever you put into that thought, that is creating your reality. Like, I don't want this thought. Oh, here it comes again. I have that thought. I wish I could think about something different. I want to think positive. Why do I think about that again? What is the reason behind it? Is it my past? Is it something in the future? But in the moment we know it's a passing thought. The law of a thought is it passes around, well, it lasts around 45 seconds. Then comes the next one. It goes really that quick. It's like, I don't know, 58,000 thoughts a day or something like that. I don't know exact number. It's loads and loads and loads and loads. We got the most incredible thoughts in the day. If I would listen to every thought I'm having, I think I would be in a mental home. I might be in prison. I might jump off a cliff. I don't know, but I probably wouldn't sit here right now. But then there are thoughts, and we see them as real. We identify ourselves. We create beliefs around these thoughts. I'm that person who, ... Since the day you're born, you live in this thought-created reality. So, coming back to suicide, it's a thought. It's a thought which you created a belief around, and you think in that moment, that's the best idea you have for the situation you have. A family member of ours, he's a teacher, he said a really wise sentence, and he said, suicide is a permanent solution for a temporary problem. And we all know that. And to see that it's thought And when you can see it's a thought, one of these 58,000 thoughts a day, but we all have it. I mean, how often do we stood somewhere? You know, I stood on a cliff and I just thought, oh no, actually now where I live in the mountains recently, I stood on top, like really steep, and it was a really beautiful valley going down. And I just thought, God, if I could fly, or if I, you know, what would happen if I jumped down here? What would be, how would it be? What would it be like? But would I do it? No. But some people, they need to act on that. They really think, they're really fearful about that thought. They think they have no control over that thought. And we don't need to have control over that thought. But in the moment when we see its thought, what is a thought? It's fresh air. The only thing there is always ever this moment right now, right here. That's all there is. This moment right now, right here. My past is 2 seconds away. And everything in my past is kept alive in this moment by a thought. By a thought. Yes, that doesn't stop me having thoughts about the past. But when I have the thoughts about the past and in that moment I'm maybe sad, then I think about something in the future. And I think about an upcoming holiday and I feel enjoyment, happiness. Then I think what I cook for dinner, or then I think about everything, what I need to do, what I think I need to do, and I get really overwhelmed because every thought is attached to a feeling. There's not one feeling without having a thought somewhere. And for me, the greatest thing to find out about that understanding, that knowledge, is I don't even need to try to figure it out anymore. You know, people speak always, oh, you need to get up in the morning, you know, you need to be grateful in the morning, you need to jump out of bed, you need to have a good reason to get off bed. Sometimes in the morning I lie in bed and I just think, I'm not happy in the moment, you know, I don't know where I am, you know, I have no idea, but it's not really, it's something but other. I don't need to change it. I don't need to try to figure it out. I don't need to do anything with it. I just know that my experience will change, sometimes through the morning. And when I know that, then all my judgment to how I'm feeling, how I'm supposed to be feeling, falls away. And then I can have a suicidal moment and feel I'm suicidal, but I'm not giving myself that label. I'm that person who is suicidal. I'm that person who is depressed. Labels are for jars. We are always what we are. We can always create ourselves completely new in every moment there is. We have this possibility. So now you probably, because you're all body workers, you probably will think, you know, how does that work, you know, but there's still hormones and they can have an effect. And that's the reason I just thought I'm going to just slide that in. You know, this understanding is so simple. So simple. Every situation is neutral. But whatever I put into that situation, that is creating my reality. Full stop. But it is really, really complex because it goes into absolutely every niche of your life. And I'm just sliding here the surface with my little talk. Half an hour is, yeah. So I just wanted to talk about just a little bit about hormones. So there is, for example, I tell you about a study. So there is this woman who did a study about hormones in menopause. Yeah, I think it was menopause. And she wanted to see why some women in menopause have so strong reactions, so strong symptoms, and others have hardly any. And so the best way to measure hormones, because when we measure hormones, when we do a blood test, it's not really reliable because, you know, our hormones change constantly. So you need to do urine tests and you need to do them again and again. So that's what she did with her group. And she had a group which had really strong symptoms and a group which had hardly any. And after she measured the hormones, she actually found out that the hormones were nearly identical in both groups. So what changes? There's still a physical reaction to it. And the thing is that we have our nervous system is starting to get really sensitive. So they also found out that women who have before a lot of anxiety, a lot of, I don't really like to call it, well, like mental stuff, I just call it, all right? Mental stuff going on, that they often the ones who have stronger symptoms, menopausal symptoms or period problems, and. So what's different? And that is the sensitivity in your nervous system. So our nervous system, when it gets triggered, it's I describe it a little bit like a high charged battery. You know, in Switzerland, we got lots of cows, and there are these little fences. They're only strings, and there's a battery to the end attached, you know, and some are really highly charged. So when you touch it, it gives you really like you probably all know, you know, it gives you a nice sting. So it is a bit like that with the nervous system. And now when we see that every time, you know, we already predicted that we could get hot flushes, or we get a hot flush, and then we say we don't want it, or it's coming again, or we judge ourselves because of it, right? So oh, this is so embarrassing, and I wish I wouldn't have that. And I mean, we all know it. When we can see, like I said before, that it's thought we experience, then suddenly we don't give this hot flush the attention it normally gets. And we know also, and that goes with other things as well, we know that it turns up every time slightly different. We don't give any expectancy to it anymore. Because we already saying, oh, in certain situations, for example, oh no, I don't want to have a hot flush, or you all know. It's, for example, what comes to mind is also seizures. They're saying, for example, people with seizures, that is actually a momentary something going on, that people have a first seizure. But then it is the memory of the room they were in, the situation they were in, maybe a smell, maybe a sentence, maybe something certain, what triggers that seizure to turn up again. So when we can see that, you know, it's just a description of many, many, many symptoms, and we are reacting to that, are highly sensitive to it. And so our nervous system gets more and more sensitive to that. In the moment I can see that that is thought created, I know it's a thought. I can be more gentle with myself, more loving with myself, more understanding with myself. And then, yes, maybe I have that symptoms. But because I'm kind with myself, and I know it's never constant, it will turn up completely different the next time. I can see the moments where there are no symptoms. The moments there are no symptoms can get bigger. And I'm more open for change. Then when I give myself that label, what I was talking about before, I'm that person who has this, or I'm the person who is this. When I can see myself that I'm evolving, are able to create myself new, that thought has the power to manifest itself on my physique. And I'm not saying to judge yourself about whatever, you know, because we always ever give the best we can with the knowledge we have in every moment. And that is really, really important to know, because then I'm really kind to myself. And like, for example, with what Hannah is doing with her blasters, I still don't have any explanation how that works, and I probably won't find an explanation, and I'm okay with that. It somehow works, and that's all we need to know. You know, I did try to explain it, but somehow it works. It works with, I think Julian it was before it was working. It works with my mom. I have no idea, but I don't care. But to know that there is something else, and also know that everything is evolving and that we do live in a thought created reality. Everything is neutral. Absolutely everything is neutral. But what we put into it is creating our reality. And I always give the best I can. And with that, I'm stop there now for today.
Excellent. Thank you. It's a very sort of esoteric subject that not many people can get their head around. So the way you've explained about the thought and where you've linked it is very interesting. Thank you, Paula.
It is the 3 principles: universal mind plus universal consciousness plus universal thought, which equals our reality. When I know this kind of mathematical equation, then which gives an explanation of how my moment-to-moment experience is created, it gives us the fundamental logic of psychology, which we were searching for years and years and years. And that gives us, knowing this, gives us this understanding. Gives us a different explanation about ourselves.
Absolutely. Hannah, well, actually, let me turn the recording off now. Thank you so much. For people who might be listening to this on recording, Paula, can you just speak out your website or your email or whatever you want to give out?
Yes, so my email is paola@paolaroyal. You can see my name here just above, paola@paolaroyal.co.uk. If you're interested and you would like to come on my mailing list, or you would like to join my monthly, I do monthly free webinars about this, which is always on the first Wednesday of the month in the evening at 7 o'clock. please contact me. And I got a website which needs to be doing, but it's still okay, which you can go. It's yourlifebuteasier.com, www.yourlifebuteasier.com. And I also got a podcast, which is also on Spotify, Your Life But Easier.
But what were you were saying your life, and then you were saying something.
I put it in the chat. Hang on.
Okay, lovely. Thank you. Marvelous.